an 11-year-old kid broke through security and jumped on Pink Floyd's stage, claiming he could play electric guitar. The audience expected a Pink Floyd song, but when he launched into Metallica instead, David Gilmour's response created 10 magical minutes that became concert legend and proved that musical genius has no age limit. It was August 15, 1994, and Pink Floyd was performing at the legendary Soldier Field in Chicago as part of their Division Bell tour. The massive stadium was packed with 55,000 fans who had come to witness what many considered to be one of the most spectacular live music experiences in rock history. Pink Floyd's concerts had evolved far beyond simple musical performances. They were multimedia extravaganzas, featuring elaborate stage designs, cutting-edge lighting systems, and visual effects that transformed stadiums into immersive artistic experiences. The band was midway through their second set when the incident occurred. They had just finished a transcendent performance of Comfortably Numb and were preparing to launch into Run Like Hell when something completely unexpected happened that would become part of Pink Floyd folklore for decades to come. In the general admission area near the stage, an 11-year-old boy named Tommy Chen was watching the concert with an intensity that had caught the attention of several people around him. Tommy wasn't just a casual Pink Floyd fan. He was a serious young musician who had been studying guitar since age 6 and had already demonstrated the kind of natural musical ability that made his teachers and parents believe he might have genuine prodigious talent. But Tommy had a secret that his parents didn't know about. While they thought he was exclusively focused on learning classic rock and progressive music, he had been secretly teaching himself heavy metal guitar techniques by watching YouTube videos and practicing with headphones when no one was home. His particular obsession was Metallica, and he had spent countless hours mastering their most complex songs, including the intricate guitar work that many adult musicians found challenging. Tommy had been begging his parents to bring him to this Pink Floyd concert for months, and they had finally agreed as a reward for his excellent performance in a local youth guitar competition. What they didn't realize was that Tommy hadn't just come to watch. He had come with a plan that he had been developing for weeks. During the intermission between sets, Tommy had carefully observed the security arrangements around the stage area. He noticed that there was a brief moment during equipment changes when the security guard's attention was focused on crowd control rather than stage monitoring. He had also noticed that there were several guitars positioned on stage stands that appeared to be easily accessible. As Pink Floyd began their second set, Tommy moved closer to the stage, timing his approach to coincide with the moments when the security team was most distracted by crowd management. His small size and the general chaos of 55,000 people moving and dancing gave him advantages that an adult would never have had. When Comfortably Numb reached its emotional peak and the entire audience was absorbed in David Gilmour's legendary guitar solo, Tommy made his move. In a burst of speed and determination that surprised everyone who witnessed it, he vaulted over the security barrier, dodged 2 guards who lunged for him, and scrambled up onto the stage before anyone could stop him. The sight of an 11-year-old boy suddenly appearing on Pink Floyd's stage created immediate confusion among the band members, crew, and security personnel. David Gilmour, who had been preparing to transition into the next song, stopped and stared in amazement at this small figure who had somehow made it past what was supposed to be impenetrable security. Tommy, adrenaline pumping, but surprisingly composed for someone his age, walked directly to one of the guitar stands and picked up a Fender Stratocaster that had been set up for backup use. The guitar was almost as big as he was, but he handled it with the confidence of someone who had been playing for years. The stadium, which moments before had been filled with the roar of 55,000 people, began to quiet as fans realized that something unprecedented was happening on stage. Security guards were moving toward Tommy, but they were unsure how to handle the situation. Tackling an 11-year-old on stage in front of tens of thousands of people could create a public relations disaster. David Gilmour, demonstrating the kind of quick thinking and compassion that had made him beloved by fans worldwide, held up his hand to signal the security team to wait. He approached Tommy with curiosity rather than annoyance, intrigued by the boy's obvious confidence and the fact that he was handling the guitar like someone who actually knew what he was doing. "What's your name, son?" Gilmour asked, his voice carrying through the venue's sound system. "Tommy Chen," the boy replied, his voice clear despite the magnitude of the moment. "I'm 11 years old and I can play electric guitar." The audience, now completely focused on this unexpected drama, responded with a mixture of cheers and nervous laughter. Some people were charmed by Tommy's boldness, while others were concerned about what might happen to him. "What would you like to play?" Gilmour asked, genuinely curious about what this confident young musician had in mind. This was the moment that Tommy had been planning for weeks. Instead of attempting to play a Pink Floyd song, which would have been the obvious and expected choice, Tommy had decided to demonstrate his skills with something that would truly surprise the audience and show his genuine musical abilities. "Master of Puppets" by Metallica, Tommy announced confidently. The response from the audience was immediate and audible, a wave of surprise and excitement as 55,000 people realized they were about to witness something completely unprecedented. No one had ever heard Metallica played on a Pink Floyd stage, and certainly no one expected an 11-year-old to attempt one of thrash metal's most technically demanding songs. David Gilmour's eyebrows raised in surprise and amusement. Master of Puppets was not only a Metallica classic, but also one of the most technically challenging metal songs ever written, requiring speed, precision, and stamina that challenged even experienced adult musicians. "Are you sure about that?" Gilmour asked with a smile. "Yes, sir," Tommy replied with the matter-of-fact confidence that only children possess when they know they're good at something. What happened next would be talked about in guitar communities and rock circles for years to come. Tommy positioned the Stratocaster, which was significantly larger than the guitars he was used to practicing with, and began the opening riff of Master of Puppets. From the very first notes, it was clear that this was not a child attempting to mimic something he had heard. This was a genuinely skilled young musician who had mastered one of metal's most complex compositions. The technical precision was remarkable. Tommy's finger placement was exact, his timing was flawless, and his execution of the intricate palm muting techniques that define Metallica's sound was surprisingly mature for someone his age. The audience, which had been prepared to offer polite encouragement for a child's attempt at playing guitar, instead found themselves witnessing a genuine display of musical prodigy. David Gilmour watched for about 30 seconds, his expression changing from amused curiosity to genuine respect as he realized that Tommy wasn't just playing the song correctly, he was playing it exceptionally well. Then Gilmour did something that transformed the moment from a novelty into something magical. Instead of letting Tommy perform alone, Gilmour picked up his own guitar and began playing a complementary harmony line to Tommy's Metallica riff. It shouldn't have worked. Pink Floyd's progressive rock sensibilities seemed incompatible with Metallica's aggressive thrash metal approach, but Gilmour's musical genius allowed him to find harmonic connections that created something entirely new. What emerged was a unique fusion of styles that had never been heard before. Tommy's precise metal riffing provided the rhythmic foundation, while Gilmour's melodic sensibilities added harmonic depth and emotional complexity that elevated the song beyond its original form. The audience reaction was explosive. 55,000 people were witnessing the creation of something that had never existed before. A collaboration between a master musician and a child prodigy that crossed generational and stylistic boundaries to create pure musical magic. Roger Waters, who was watching from the side of the stage, later said that he had never seen David Gilmour adapt his playing style so quickly and effectively to accommodate such a different musical approach. It was like watching a master class in musical communication, Waters observed. As the performance continued, other members of Pink Floyd began to join in. Nick Mason found a way to incorporate his drumming style into the Metallica framework, creating rhythmic patterns that bridged the gap between progressive rock and thrash metal. Richard Wright added keyboard textures that shouldn't have worked with Metallica, but somehow created an atmospheric foundation that enhanced both musical styles. For 10 minutes, Soldier Field became the site of the most unlikely musical collaboration in rock history. Tommy, maintaining his composure and technical precision despite performing in front of 55,000 people with one of the world's most famous rock bands, continued to lead the musical direction while the members of Pink Floyd followed his lead and added their own interpretive elements. The fusion of styles created something that was neither purely Metallica nor purely Pink Floyd, but rather a new musical entity that demonstrated the universal language of music and its ability to transcend categorical boundaries when genuine talent meets genuine openness to collaboration. Tommy's parents, who had been watching in a mixture of terror and amazement from their seats in the audience, later described the experience as both the most frightening and most proud moment of their lives. They had no idea that their son possessed the confidence or ability to create such a moment, and they were simultaneously worried about the consequences and amazed by his musical capabilities. As the improvised collaboration reached its conclusion, David Gilmour gestured for Tommy to take the lead in ending the performance. Tommy, demonstrating musical maturity beyond his years, brought the song to a conclusion with a flourish that showcased both his technical skills and his understanding of how to create a satisfying musical resolution. The audience response was unlike anything that had ever been heard at a Pink Floyd concert. The standing ovation lasted for nearly 5 minutes, with 55,000 people acknowledging that they had just witnessed something unprecedented and extraordinary. David Gilmour, clearly moved by the experience, put his arm around Tommy and addressed the audience through his microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen," Gilmour said, "you've just witnessed why music is the most important thing in the world. This young man has just taught all of us that talent, passion, and courage don't have age requirements." He turned to Tommy and continued, "Tommy, you've just shown 55,000 people and 4 old musicians that music belongs to anyone who's willing to work hard enough to master it. Thank you for reminding us why we fell in love with guitar in the first place." Tommy, still somewhat overwhelmed by the magnitude of what had just happened, managed to thank David Gilmour and Pink Floyd before being escorted off stage by security, this time gently and with obvious respect for what he had just accomplished. The immediate aftermath of Tommy's performance created a media sensation that extended far beyond the concert itself. Video footage of the performance, captured by both professional cameras and audience members, spread rapidly and became one of the most viewed concert clips in rock history. Music journalists struggled to categorize what they had witnessed. Was it a novelty performance, a genuine musical collaboration, or something entirely new? Most settled on describing it as a demonstration of music's power to create unexpected connections between artists of different generations and styles. Guitar magazines featured Tommy on their covers, with articles analyzing his technique and discussing the implications of such young musical prodigy. Metallica's members, when asked about Tommy's performance of their song, expressed amazement at his technical precision and musicality. For Pink Floyd, the incident became a reminder of why they had originally been drawn to music, not for fame or commercial success, but for the pure joy of musical expression and discovery. The spontaneous collaboration with Tommy reinvigorated their own approach to performance and reminded them that the most meaningful musical moments often emerge from unexpected circumstances. Tommy's life changed dramatically following his 10 minutes of fame. He received offers from music schools, guitar teachers, and even record labels interested in developing his talent. However, His parents, demonstrating wisdom about the challenges facing child prodigies, chose to keep Tommy's musical development focused on education and enjoyment, rather than commercial exploitation. The guitar that Tommy had played during his performance, the Fender Stratocaster from Pink Floyd's stage, was given to him by David Gilmour as a gesture of respect for his talent and courage. The guitar became Tommy's most treasured possession and served as a constant reminder of the night when his musical dreams briefly became reality. Years later, Tommy would reflect on the experience as the moment that taught him the most important lesson about music: that technical skill, while necessary, means nothing without the courage to share your passion with others, and the openness to collaborate with fellow musicians, regardless of their background or style. David Gilmour continued to follow Tommy's musical development over the years, occasionally reaching out to offer encouragement and advice. Their brief collaboration at Soldier Field became the foundation for a mentoring relationship that demonstrated the best aspects of the musical community's willingness to support and develop young talent. The story of Tommy Chen's stage invasion became part of Pink Floyd mythology, but its significance extended beyond novelty or entertainment. It served as a powerful reminder that musical genius can emerge at any age, and that the most transcendent musical experiences occur when artists are willing to embrace the unexpected and collaborate across traditional boundaries. For the 55,000 people who witnessed that August night in Chicago, Tommy's performance became a treasured memory that reinforced their faith in music's power to surprise, inspire, and unite people across generations and musical styles. The 10 minutes of music that emerged from Tommy's boldness and David Gilmour's openness to collaboration created something that neither Metallica nor Pink Floyd could have achieved alone. A demonstration that the future of music lies not in rigid adherence to established categories, but in the willingness of musicians to learn from each other and create new possibilities through respectful collaboration. If this story of youthful courage, musical transcendence, and the power of intergenerational artistic collaboration inspired you, make sure to subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. Share this video with anyone who believes that talent and passion can overcome age barriers and traditional expectations. Have you ever witnessed a moment when someone surprised everyone by demonstrating abilities that transcended their apparent limitations? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to ring that notification bell for more incredible stories about the unexpected moments when music creates magic that changes everyone involved.